I assure you that Ukrainian soldiers can perfectly operate American tanks and planes themselves. Thank you for both financial packages you have already provided us with and the ones you may be willing to decide on. Your money is not charity. It's an investment in the global security and democracy that we handle in the most responsible way.
We're handling your money in the most responsible way. Take our word for it. Take our word for it. Ho, 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 they laugh. And they clap like seals. But here's the interesting thing. Almost every person in the room clapped like a seal. So no matter what that man said, send me more money, I command you, send me more money, we're taking care of it the most responsible ways. They applaud, all of them, almost like they have to. Now, there are 435 members of the House of Representatives, and they're Republicans and Democrats. And famously, they don't get along and they don't agree on anything. They can't even pass a budget because they disagree on everything, very bitterly. And yet, when a foreign leader shows up in cargo pants to tell them lies and give them orders, they all applaud. That's pretty weird behavior in a democracy if you think about it. The fractious debate we hear so much about doesn't exist. And in fact, looking at the screen last night, it didn't really look like a democracy, to be honest. It looked like this.
За доверие. Известно, она, наша партия, именно так и поступает.
Oh, yes, good point. Good point, sir. Ooh, we're so pleased you're here. Throw your foreign flag on the dais and we'll applaud more. That's honestly what it looked like last night. You gotta clap, you can get in trouble if you don't clap, so everyone just claps all the time. Clapping is mandatory as long as Zelensky's speaking. Now, there were a few who didn't obey. That would include Matt Gaetz of Florida, Lauren Boebert of Colorado. And when they didn't stand up and applaud, they found out the hard way what happens to people who dare not to applaud. NBC News took off right after them. That was the headline for NBC. Its House historian, Michael Beschloss, declared this, quote, "For any members of Congress who refuse to clap for Zelensky, we need to know from them exactly why. We need to know why." Ooh, thought crime alert. You've been reported as not applauding. Explain yourself, plebe. And then Beschloss went on television to drive home the point. Our sources have reported you are not clapping. Watch this.
And I think the other thing I'd like to ask is the number of members of Congress, almost all Republican, who did not show up tonight or who showed up and refused to clap. I'd like to know why that was for two reasons. Number one, you're a public servant. We're allowed to know those things. You're supposed to tell us if you're serving in Congress what the reason was. You know, do you love Putin or are you just opposed to democracy or is there something else?
The other day, Lindsey Graham came out, the Republican from South Carolina, and said that he agreed with Joe Biden and Zelensky. The real goal is not to move Russian troops out of Ukraine back to pre-February borders. The real goal is regime change in Russia. Watch this.
How does this war end? When Russia breaks and they take Putin out, anything short of that, the war is going to continue. To ask the Ukrainians to give Russia part of their country after all this death and destruction is not going to happen. To signal a ceasefire, Russia will take the opportunity to rearm and come at them again. So we're in it to win it. And the only way you're going to win it is to break the Russian military and have somebody in Russia take Putin out.
So it's really hard to overstate how crazy this is. And you don't want to play shrink and wonder about, what emptiness at the core of Lindsey Graham's personal life causes him to identify so strongly with a country he's not a citizen of. Something's going on there. But the effect is incredibly reckless and crazy. Take out Putin. Putin's bad. Kill him. Fine. What happens then? Well, the world's largest landmass falls into ungovernable chaos. And that country has the world's largest nuclear arsenal. What happens to all those weapons? In a country with a lot of people who hate us, Lindsey Graham has no idea. He doesn't care. He's not interested. He's not going to be here to find out. And none of the lawmakers who clapped yesterday had any idea either. They're clapping for regime change They're clapping for an uncertain and incredibly dangerous future. It's not getting the Russian military out of Ukraine. It's much more than that. And they don't want to know more. And you know what they don't care about? You. Your health care, your southern border, your children, your schools, your country. They don't care. Matt Gaetz is one of the very few members of Congress, as noted earlier, who didn't follow the rules and stand up and applaud like a seal as the foreign leader in a sweatshirt lectured our country. He joins us now to explain his thought crime. Matt Gaetz, thanks so much for coming on. How did you, now, you know what? I'm just going to channel Michael Beschloss here. First of all, how dare you? Okay? When a foreign dictator shows up in the Congress on your knees, okay, that's what Americans do. Second, I'm going to ask you, how much do you love Putin that you didn't applaud last night?
Well, let's start with Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham has no problem sending $100 billion to Ukraine so that we can weigh in on which guy in a sweatsuit gets to rule Crimea. I mean, I feel no compunction to go out and applaud some foreign leader from a historically corrupt country who is begging for more than the $100 billion that the Congress is already set to send them. Now, when President Trump said that America would never be a socialist country, you saw Democrats sit on their hands. But when we say you shouldn't send endless amounts of money to this place where we are exacerbating death and conflict, it's like we're traitors to the movement because Lauren Boebert and I didn't stand up in some sort of North Korea-style performance. And it really makes you wonder, what was all of this for? I think that Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi wanted to bring Zelensky there to the Congress to provide air cover for an otherwise totally indefensible spending bill. And you could see why Zelensky was in for the grift. He's got a lot riding on it. $12.9 billion in this bill to prop up the Ukrainian economy. $300 million for Ukrainian agriculture, another $300 million for Ukrainian border patrol. And in the same bill, we are tying the hands of our own border patrol. So Ukraine gets economic development, agriculture, border patrol, and we get racial equity mandates for us here at home. So Washington actually thinks that they should go to great lengths to keep Ukraine whole, while at the same time funding the balkanization and division within our own country. And I'm not sorry that Lauren Boebert and I won't stand for it.
No. And by the way, I have much more respect for Maxine Waters, who I don't like and vehemently disagree with, because she's a fellow American. We're both citizens. We both grew up here. This guy has nothing to do with our country. Get what he can. I get it. I'm not even mad at him. I'm mad at the people who instinctively bow before some uppity foreigner demanding money that we don't have, and they should be absolutely ashamed. And anyone who criticized you for acting like an American should be doubly ashamed, and that means you, Michael Beschloss, you craven.
Well, Tucker, at least we found a flag the Democrats were willing to stand for on the floor of the United States Congress. That was a revealing moment.
Exactly. I appreciate your coming on. Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida. Thank you.
Thank you.